looking at the trade ideas, we know the Magnificent Seven has carried the market last year. It's up to 30% right now of the S&P 500. Their PEs are much higher than the rest of the S&P 500. Maybe that's another area of risk if we do see some of these names come down. But Brian, what do you see in Tesla?
Yeah, this chart's kind of interesting because we kind of had this sort of head and shoulders bottoming process where we kind of got higher lows now and this upswing. It looked like some momentum to the upside. I personally own Tesla. I bought it months ago to try and play to the upside, but I'm starting to get a little concerned here. When you look at this chart, that upswing is really starting to lose some momentum. We haven't been able to sort of break that neckline just yet. And Tesla earnings are next week, right, on Wednesday. So I'm going to do a few things maybe to protect my long stock position. And one thing I might look at is because that $200 level in the stock basically is the 50% retracement level from those October, December lows all the way up to the mid 2023 high, going back over a year here. So that 200 level, really a critical level here. And we may retest that heading into earnings. So here's a trade I'm going to do. I'm long stock, right? Earnings next week. I'm going to trade options that expire next Friday, right? So this is very short-term trade, looking to buy those January 220 puts for about $8.40. That's what they were worth when the stock was around 220.85. And I'm going to lower some of the cost of that trade by selling the January 200 put, that $2.10. So net debit is about $6.30 here. I'm basically risking $6.30 for a max profit of $13.70, which basically would, if I'm long stock, it essentially protects 2/3 of a downward move to that $200 level that I'm talking about. So I want to just get some protection in here in earnings in case there's a move to the downside.
Yeah, it seems like a good amount of protection. It does seem like potential volatility catalyst is there with the earnings, and this does not look pretty. I just got to be honest with you. We got some lower highs in here. It does seem like it wants to go back and test this neckline here, which hopefully it will hold, but there's no guarantee that it will.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not willing to give up on my stock yet, but I want some protection into this earnings play. And you look at the earnings over the last 4 quarters, the stock has moved 9 to 10% after earnings. So that's significant to me. These options seem pretty cheap if we get a 10% move in Tesla.